Hey kids, welcome back to the Gaming with Dad show. Today we are looking at Castle Crumble on Irrelevant Gaming, also known as the Apple Arcade. But before we go on ahead and do that, why don't you go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment, share this out, put it on a t-shirt, and wear it while you are touring castles in England. That's just a great way to grow the channel and bring a little bit more attention to this little side project of mine. But yes, we are looking at Castle Crumble for all of your Apple devices, as in your OS X computer or your iPad or iPhone. As you can see, Castle Crumble is just a game where you try to destroy castles and buildings. I'm not sure I'd call them all castles, but, close enough. Essentially, it is Angry Birds, but slightly different. That said, if we look at our graphics section of this game, I do have to admit, it's bright, it's colorful. There is kind of an element of that Apple Arcade cel-shaded look and feel to it, where it reminds me of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. You do have those cute little red guards, I guess, for lack of a better word, that you try to annihilate. That also then brings it back to the pigs and Angry Birds. There's just no story behind really what you're doing. I mean, there is a story, but it's pretty much absent for 99.8% of the game. But graphically, it is bright, colorful, visually appealing. There is a huge amount of personal satisfaction that you get with a well-placed shot. And the explosions visually are very satisfying as you dismantle the castles in this game. Therefore, graphics are getting a 17. As we move into sound, pretty subdued. I do have to admit that the sound of the castles exploding and crumbling is satisfying, although I am going to take a point off because I have actually experienced where the castle sound, or the crumbling sound, just never ends. It's just going on and on and on, as though when the blocks fall off the building, they are just continually bouncing off each other and making that sound. So it's going to lose a point there. But besides that, the sound gets the job done. I am giving sound a 15. We're at a total of 32 right now as we go into the controls. Now, I have played this on both my iOS devices as well as my Mac OS. And I will say that the controls on the computer are better because, of course, the mouse pointer is a lot smaller than my big sausage-like fingers that you have to use on the iOS devices. It allows you to, at least on the computer, it allows you to strategically place your cannonballs or bombs inside of windows or even on the inside of a building, thereby maximizing the damage that you do. That's a little bit more difficult on your iOS devices, and especially if you get down into a smaller form factor like a regular iPhone, I can see that being frustrating. You do have the capability of zooming in and everything, but of course that is all a matter of scale and perspective. So this is definitely one of those that is easier to play on the computer than your iOS device, but you do have that cross-platform capabilities, and it is just a good pick up and play kind of game. Controls are getting a 16. We're at a total of 48 as we move into gameplay. Once you've played one level of this, even though you do unlock additional weapons and bombs, or the ability to summon meteor strikes, the gameplay itself is very simplistic. It is, you are presented with a castle or multiple castles on each level that you then have to destroy. And you do that by firing cannonballs, bombs, acid flasks, snowballs, all kinds of different weapons, but they each have kind of a purpose to them. The snowballs weaken structures, allowing you to hit them a second time with a cannonball when normally the cannonball would just bounce off, that type of stuff. But that said, the gameplay is extremely simplistic and a little bit too easy. I've played something like 170 levels of this game, and there have only been 2 instances where I haven't scored 3 stars. Or I haven't failed to complete any of the missions yet. And so, therefore, I can't really say gameplay is all that in-depth or strategic, but it is one of those pick up and goes. This would be a great game as you're sitting at the airport waiting for a flight to connect or a delayed takeoff, that type of stuff. I'm giving gameplay a 16. We're at a score of 64 value-wise. Once again, as part of Apple Arcade, that is a steep price to pick up, but this does offer kind of that addictive gameplay. You want to go and you just want to blow something up without having to think too hard about it. This is a game for that. It's got that lovely interface and just kind of that satisfying, can I do this with one cannonball or one bomb? And it is addictive in its nature, just because who doesn't like random property damage? I mean, I certainly love random property damage. It explains why I love 80s action movies so damn much. So value is getting a 15. We're sitting at a score of 79. If you have Apple Arcade, go on ahead, download this, give it a spin. You'll probably end up getting addicted to it for a little bit and then moving on to your next obsession. We'll talk to you kids later. Bye-bye. Hey, if you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video out, all that gubbins that is good for the YouTube algorithm. Thanks so much.